We are going to make our Christmas tree, and as you can see, I have already cut mine out. They don't need to be absolutely accurate, but of course, you want it as accurate as you can make it. And I'm going to put a few pins in here. This has a fairly wide seam allowance. It's 1/4 inch plus. And I'm just going to sew one where you guys can see it. And then I'll do the other two off camera. But you can see I'm just adding a few pins really quick to my little Christmas tree. And what I have is 6 pieces of fabric, all cut to the same shape. And I'm matching up the same fabrics with each other. That will give you different fabrics facing each other so you don't have like 2 of these tan chickens looking at one another. And I've had this fabric for a while. I was going to make it fits right in with me, right? I'm the chicken lady. So just a couple of pins to do this. And that all the way up there. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I have made marks on each of these. So I know where to leave open. And at some point, these are going to get sewn down the middle. So I want my little sections that are open to be pretty open. Let's get them all pinned and then we'll go to the sewing machine real quick. Start the sewing machine. I've got my machine on a straight stitch and I have it set on about a 1.5 to a 2. I'm going to use the edge of my presser foot as my guide for my seam allowance on here. And I'm just going to start right here at the bottom. I have to get my foot out from under the table. So we're going to use the edge of the foot as our guide. And we're just going to follow the shape of our little Christmas tree all the way around. And then we're going to get right up close and personal here. I'm going to use my little scissors to cut all the way up, but not through my stitching at the little points. So I'll do that for all the points on here. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. I really want to go as close as possible. And then on these points up here, I'm going to narrow trim those right down as close as I can to the stitch line. Leave yourself about 1/8 of an inch or so your point will come out nice when you get there. I know many of you have done this before. This part's for the beginners. And you can take your pinking scissors if you have them and just go ahead and pink along all these edges if that's what you prefer to do. On this one, I think the pinking scissors would be more of a pain than just cutting what I need to cut. Okay, I've got to do that 2 more times. Let me show you how to turn this out real quick. I'm going to take it right here. Let me back you up a little. All right, so you're going to take it and you're just going to start at each point, pushing that out. And I'll take my little purple thing, which mine's actually a little blue thing, and I'll push those points out from the inside. Takes a little bit of work to get it to come out, but that's fine. This is hopefully going to be a Christmas decor table item for, several holidays to come, maybe lots of holidays to come. So it's worth taking a little time and doing it right. Whoops, that one poked all the way out. I'll fix that in a second. You don't want to push so hard that you poke through your points like I just did. And that's why you want to leave roughly a 1/4 inch seam if you can, up in those corners. So I'll continue turning that out. Let me go ahead and sew the other 2 Christmas trees together, and I will bring you back as soon as I get them all ironed. So I have turned all of my little Christmas trees out. I've taken you probably have a purple thing. I have no idea why I have a blue one. But I'm going to give them a quick run through with the iron, and then I'll show you what we do next on all of this. So just a fast press to make everything flat, or kind of flat. And they aren't going to match perfectly, and that's fine. And the very last one that I ironed, I'm going to iron it flat. And then I'm going to fold it in half so that its little limbs match. And I'm going to put the iron on it. My iron's starting to get cold, can you tell? And kind of line everybody up. And I'm just going to put a couple of pins in here. You can actually mark this from your pattern if you like. I just find it easier to put a ironing line in there so I don't have to deal with markings on my pattern. All right, so we're going to go back to the sewing machine. Over here at the sewing machine, all we're going to do is first we're going to lengthen our stitch length. I'm going to go up to 2.5 because I was using 1.5 before. And I'm going to stitch, back stitch. I'm going to go right down that line that I ironed in here. Not going all the way to the bottom because I do want to be able to turn that under to sew it once I get everything stuffed. You didn't know that, but we're going to stuff this with some toy stuffing like you would use for a stuffed bear, anything like that. So we are now up to stuffing our little tree. I've got most of it done. As you can see, it stands up on its own. What, and I didn't think anybody wanted to watch me stuff all 6 of these. So I'm going to start with the very last one. And I want to make sure that you can see that one's not stuffed. And when I sewed this together, I left a little gap at the top and a little gap at the bottom. Now I'm going to take little bits of my fluff at a time, and I'm going to push them in here. And I'm just going to push it up in there with my finger until I can't push it any further up there. And then I've got my purple thing here. If you have a hemostat or a chopstick or a pair of very dull scissors, you could use anything else that you want to use. But I'm going to try to push this one all the way up to that little point up there. And now I've pushed all that big ball all the way up to there. Let's take another little piece. I'm going to push it up in here. And I have found in my vast experience of doing this, which this is, I think, only the second or third of these I've ever made, is that I like stuff into the little points as much as possible. As far up in there. And then go in with the next piece. And I'm going to stuff up into the next point. And I'm sure that most of you have stuffed a stuffed animal at least once in your life, either a teddy bear or a rabbit. If you're my age, which most of my viewers are, we've probably all stuffed a bunny rabbit or two with the long ears from the 80s and the 90s. Boy, were those ever fun to make. Those muslin rabbits that when you wash them, they just get more and more worn in and so cozy and comfy to hang on to. And once I get my little points filled in, and I'm going to go back in there with some more, and I'm going to try to fill out any wrinkles or any place where I feel like it doesn't have enough stuffing in it. If, like me, you have problems with Arthur in your hands, you can do this with the tool exclusively or with the hemostat. But as long as I'm only pushing with like 1 or 2 fingers, my hands will let me do it. So I'm taking advantage. Thank you, hands. And see, you can just fill in all those little holes. And down in between the layers, you can see like where it's not full. Just gonna go ahead and put some more stuffing right in that area. Grab some more. This is a 20-ounce bag, and I've used almost none. So I'll just pull a little piece out, break it off, and then use my finger to tuck it in where I want it. And you can stuff yours as full or not full as you like, obviously. I like mine stuffed pretty full if I can do it. I can still get just a little bit more in there. I'm trying to make sure that it's full all the way up to my little round curves and stuff. And then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take and hand stitch all these little sections closed. And I'll do that off camera because nobody's got time to watch me hand stitch. And you can sit here and play with it as much as you like. But there is our little Christmas tree with my chickens all over it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. All right. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great day and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And look forward to the next 11 days with Sylvia, Colleen, and Dawn. My quilt projects, Colleen Sews and Chats, and you and me FPP. Bye for now.